Hello and welcome to the headline reviews for today. And today happens to be Wednesday, Chinatu.
My favorite day of the week. That's why I was laughing.
Now, before we even got here, when we were talking about, we are having a conversation. But first, at least I forget myself. I am Godwin Sunday.
And I am Chinatu Oji.
All right, so you're welcome. So, like I was saying before, that we're having a conversation about hoodlums that are currently taking over our toilet, and that's why Chinatu is laughing at the moment. Hoodlums are taking over the streets of the toilets in Abuja, and they've turned it to their own residents. Most around Lugbe, around Apo, most of the public toilets have been taken over by hoodlums, and this is worrisome. We don't know what's going on, what's the state of housing challenge in Abuja at the moment, especially within Apo and Lugbe. What would have led to all of these factors? Could it be that most of these hoodlums, when they come out to work in the day, they retire back to toilets? And if yes, people that sleep in toilets, when they wake up in the morning, it's a bit, would they poo in the toilets where they live, or they will
They're
have
not even
to?
thinking about the infection, the whole bacteria, and the fact that it's unsafe, it's unclean, it's not hygienic in any way. So when you were talking about, when you were telling me this, I was just laughing because for you to be able to comfortably sleep in a toilet, there's a lot of things wrong with you. Because the smell, and people keep coming in, so it's not like, okay, the place is 100% clean, right? But now, and it's making me think that Abuja is becoming Lagos. We see these things happening in Lagos. I mean, we see people under the bridge sleeping, people who have actual jobs in Lagos, and now we are seeing it. At least in Abuja's case, it's hoodlums.
Well, it's going to metamorphose very soon.
But it's not a good reality. I mean, it's telling us something. In Abuja is having issues. Are people able to pay rent? People just paid rent recently, I mean, for the new year. And you won't believe how much rents transition from 150,000 for some areas. Those areas where you say, okay, it just makeshift homes, to 250. So somebody who was struggling to pay 150,000 can now pay 250. People who were paying 300K asked to pay 450K. So what would you have them do?
Well, I'm not part of the hoodlum. I won't be able to answer that. but then it's devastating.
It is.
It's not a sweet conversation to have that people live in toilets, not just toilets for that matter, public toilets. Now, which means that people are pressed along the road. If the public, general public, are pressed along the road, they won't be able to use that same toilet because hoodlums have taken over the toilet. And to think that the Federal Capital Territory Authority are not even looking towards a direction to ensure that for every 5-minute walking distance, we have some form of toilet around where people can ease off along the road. Now, if you're not putting this into consideration, it will also the aftermath effect will be that we'll be having a country where people defecate along the road since hoodlums have decided to make the toilet their home.
I mean, there's also the security problem because these are hoodlums. So it means you going to use a public toilet as a passerby or as a commuter, you're unsafe. Your phone can be snatched, you can be harmed. So it's also imposing a security challenge on people in the society. It's not a good development. I mean, I was laughing, but really, in retrospect, it's not something good, and it should be eliminated by all costs.
It's not something good that the government should look into this and ensure that these issues are addressed. Well, we'll go for a short break right now. When we come back, we'll be delving into the headlines review. Please stay with us as Headline Reviews continues in a moment.
Oh my God, I think every headline, every story today is the one that will tickle my fancy. We have this story from the Cable where it says, advisors in Ekiti sworn in with Ogun idol, Quran by Ikere Ekiti local government boss. So the story is local supervisors and advisors of Ikere Ekiti local government area in Ekiti state were sworn in with an Ogun totem and the Quran. Ogun is one of the deities in African traditional religion. It is often regarded as a god of iron. The swearing-in ceremony took place on May 2nd at the conference hall of the office of Olu Adamolekun, chairman of Ikere-Ekiti local government area. The oath of office was administered on the appointees by Adamolekun. In a video making the rounds on social media, the appointees could be seen taking turns to wield a cutlass in one hand and a Quran in the other while administering the oath of office. Adamolekun asked the appointees to repeat the following in Yoruba. From today, I will be loyal and truthful to BAO, Ekiti State Governor, and Monishade, Deputy Governor, APC, and its leaders. I will take instructions from the leaders. If I refuse to do so, Ogun or the Quran should kill me. For this, I will be truthful, they said. Godwin, what is happening in your country?
Chinata, I couldn't stop laughing.
We've moved, we usually see when people go to court, before they go into the box, witness box, they tell them to swear with the Bible or the Quran. But now we are seeing a deity invoking Ogun on people. But a lot of people say that I think people are already used to working with the Quran and the Bible. So now people will be scared. When you tell somebody you're going to strike you, they get very scared. I think that's what the advisors are trying to do here. But really, I know we're a religious country, but okay, where is this one coming from now? Are we trying to uphold our religion so much? Are we trying to uphold our traditional rights so much? People are very scared of their cultures and traditions. There are things that if you tell somebody, if you swear with the Bible, this will happen to you. And if you swear with Ogun, this will happen to you. People would rather be scared of swearing with Ogun. So I think this is the angle, but it's just funny.
Chinatu, what I've been laughing ever since is first, when I watched the video, people were just wielding the cutlass. And using it to swear. That's first. Then the second aspect of the conversation is that some of the things you told them to swear with, that's not what got me angry. What got me angry was the fact that we're not swearing alone with Ogun. Now, if they're swearing with Ogun alone and saying, hey, we are mixing Ogun and the Quran, and they're holding it side by side simultaneously. So which means that you cannot joke with the two gods. If you miss one, the other one will, you can't miss the other. But then the content of what they are swearing on, saying that if I'm not loyal, I thought I would see something like, if I embezzle public funds, if I'm unable to discharge my primary responsibility as an appointee of the government, let this happen to me. But then I'm seeing loyalty as the forefront of the conversation. Now, this shouldn't be.
I agree.
If people are not loyal to the party, they're not loyal to the leadership of the party can disengage them from such offices. It's as simple. You don't need to swear with any deity. Now, if we're talking about Ogun, and right now we are swearing with Ogun, man, very soon we'll go to Amadioha. From Amadioha, we'll move to Atimekbebo. From Atimekbebo, we'll go to Anansa. Then we'll tour around the whole country trying to play deity. But I think that this is, I don't know what Ekiti aims to achieve, what Ikire hopes to achieve with this particular swearing in, but this is not a good precedent for our nascent democracy. It's not good for our nascent democracy. Let the traditional worship be handled by traditional rulers, and let those within the governmental space be ruled by the dictates and the tenets of constitutionality, so that we'll be able to have what are some of the established norms in the Constitution. I think that will serve as a guide for us instead of going...
I agree with you, Godwin. And I also think that it is important that we work with people according to their culture and their religious belief. So if I'm not somebody who believes in Ogun, I shouldn't swear by Ogun. If I'm not somebody who believes in the Quran, I shouldn't be asked to swear by the Quran. If I'm not a Christian, I shouldn't be asked to swear by the point you raised about them only swearing just because of loyalty is very important. What are we trying to say? Because it would have our public, but this is based on strictly loyalty. So it's about service to A, B, and not something that would benefit everybody. We shouldn't be seeing this in government.
We shouldn't be seeing this in government. So let's move now next to the leadership newspaper, where we have another interesting story We have the Benway to launch own beer brand in December. Well, the Benway State Investment and Property Company has hinted at arrangement by the state to launch its beer brand in December 2024. This is even as the managing director, Dr. Raymond Asemakaha, informed that water and bakery factories built by the agency at Su Ayu on George Akume Way at the cost of 200 million will also be completed and commissioned this month. The MD, who disclosed this to newsmen after a tour of the brewery, water and bakery factories in Makurdi, said the company will give Benway a Nigerian high premium quality beer that will be made in Benway using fresh raw materials. Now, Chinatu, I first of all laugh, but let's put this into context first before we now go into the conversation. First, Benue State is a state in Nigeria, and as a state in Nigeria, they have a governor, and they've been able to set up an enterprise, a money-generating enterprise for the state so that the government can be able to meet up to certain responsibility. And as it stands right now, one of those enterprises that is being set up by the government is the Benue State Investment and Property Company, where they hope to make money from and generate income from the company. Now, what we've seen so far is that the company have said, okay, by come 2024, by December, give or take, we will be able to have established to be able to meet up with the financial responsibility that we are obliged to provide for the state. Now, looking at it on the contrary, which haven't established that, Benue State is one state where it is more of a rural state. I don't want to say it's a rural community, but an average person from Benue State would like to live the rural life, like exploring by taking things like palm wine and not just to stay afloat. Now, this is a cultural drink among the Benueans. But then when we now look at it take it further, so we want to bring in beer factory into Benue State. What are we trying to achieve with the beer factory? I thought at this point we'll be seeing garment factories, we'll be seeing more of agricultural refurbished factories, we'll be seeing factories where we clone cars, factories where we robotics. Beer factory.
Yeah.
In the face of people that are
Which
beer
one are they
testy.
using to drink?
Well, people will just close the beer factory and just drink all the contents therein, and this is worrisome. I don't know, Chinatu, but this is not a good development for a state of the magnitude of Benue State.
As you've rightly said, Godwin, honestly, when our governors or when our leaders do some things, I wonder the people who actually advise them, because this thing couldn't have just happened. I mean, this is not just going to happen. He has people advising him. Now, you're looking at your state. Where does your state stand when we are talking education? Where does your state stand when we are talking infrastructure? Where does it stand when we are talking about a lot of things in the scheme of things in this country? And then you think that a good way to make the states, boost is establishing a beer factory. What? When there are a lot of things to establish, why don't you try to, do partnerships with different companies? Try to bring... there's now tech. Tech is like the in thing now. Why are you not encouraging your young people to get into tech? If it means buying laptops to train people to become programmers, to become UI, UX designers, just do something else. Are we encouraging people to become drunkards? There are no even jobs. So the little money you have, you drink and then you're just messing around on the road. What are we doing?
Maybe the beer factory will provide jobs.
There
will be employment, There'll be
employment.
And there'll be more highness in the States. So we'll call them your Royal Highness.
Security, please. We need better jobs. We need people to be gainfully employed. I don't have a problem with this, but the timing and the point where the state is right now is not perfect for that, honestly. It's not perfect for that, God. You want some people just wake up every day and drink and have their life.
This is not funny, Chinatu. At all, it's not. I saw it at first, I just laughed because I don't know where we're going to at this point. But let's take the next story, Chinatu.
Yes, which will also be the last headline for today. DSSRS wanted Oyomo to park bus called Auxiliary. The Department of State Services has reportedly arrested the wanted former chairman of the Oyo State Park Management System, Mukaila Lamidi, popularly known as Auxiliary. The Punch reliably gathered that Auxiliary was arrested at about 4 p.m. on Tuesday at his residence in Olodo area of Ibadan, the state capital. Although the reasons for his arrest are still sketchy, a source who spoke to Punch on the condition of anonymity said it was because of the weight of the matter. In an interview he granted on Saturday, in which he called out Sheye Famojuru, a trusted ally of Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, of being behind his words. Going down. See.
Not like, this case has been a very interesting case over the months. Has been an interesting Makinde's tool, and as such, the government is trying to punish him for taking the government or stepping on the government DSS, which happens to be the secret service of the government, stepping into a case of this magnitude. It should be that DSS stepping into cases where people have totally vowed the given territory or locality, then the DSS can step in. When this is a federal offense, DSS can step in.
I'm wondering what DSS is doing with.
And to think that DSS picked him up and the allegations are still sketchy, we've not heard that DSS is picking him up. And you know one thing about this arrest that is being made, it looks like a political witch hunting. Or say, okay, you're looking for him insulted the governor. Of course, in the democratic system of government, going by freedom of expression has been a fundamental right for every person. So I think there's no governor or president in this country that has been insulted like Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. No. That man received a lot of, but the way he was able to establish the rule of law and be able to manage this situation, it's called for, we need to emulate that kind of gesture. It took a lot of patience. Donald Trump has been insulted severally, even at the point on social media. They call him, I don't want to use the name they use on him, but then it was derogatory. But you never saw Donald Trump send using the state apparatus to pick people up because they insulted Donald Trump. Now, we've seen a lot of this, but then a matter of this magnitude, I don't know what the gravity of what he said to, because it's not been made public right now, what he said to the governor has not been made, but then whatever he has said to the governor, DSS stepping in when it's not a threat to the, then this calls for concern. I think the director of the to order so that we can look at this conversation from not from a parochial point of view, but from an holistic point of view, knowing fully well that what happens to one can happen to all. And there is no political offices are transient. You're not going to stay there for for the long run. One day you will leave that office. What happens if you speak up against the government for probably A, Y, Z that the government ought to do, that the government is not doing, and the state apparatus, which happens to be the state, the DSS or SSS, picks you up for speaking up against the governor. Now, this doesn't promote the dictate of our Nigerian democratic journey, if you ask me.
It doesn't, and it's very sad that we see, because people have power or because you're entrusted with power, it means that, or you think that you can easily just will it anyhow, pick up anybody you want to pick up without the public even knowing the person's offense. I mean, people have the right to know. I mean, you don't just carry me like that, arrest me for nothing, and it's sketchy. We don't know, I stepped on whose toes. Can people come out and begin to be accountable for things? So if he did wrong, right, there's no crime. He should be arrested. But for what exactly? Because the man is even confused as to what he did. So we don't want a situation where it's witch hunting. You just, because this person is not aligning with you, you think that, oh, use your power to oppress him. No, it shouldn't be that way. And it's so sad that we keep experiencing this kind of things in Nigeria. And the question keeps remaining. When will we get it right? When will, I mean, we should use our powers, but when we use our powers now to oppress people just because we have the power, then we are no longer leaders. We are now dictators.
And look, a take from that conversation, we saw what happened in Lagos in the course of the weekend, where a boy was shot was shot in Lagos State. And when Benjamin Odeyin was the Lagos State PPRO as a police public relations officer, when he spoke, I read this tweet and I find that very, very funny. And people should be careful when you see people hold firearms. You should be careful around them.
Rather than cautioning the people holding the firearms.
I thought by now the officers that were able to shoot civilians, unarmed civilians, that just told you, hey, go back and follow, because we see that a lot in the country where uniformed people try to violate certain laid down laws and procedures in the country. They tell you don't drive through don't breach the traffic lights.
But they
you see a uniformed person break traffic laws and he goes scot-free. I, as a civilian, not a uniformed person, I break the traffic law and I'm being picked up. Now, there should be some form of egalitarianism. There should be some of equality where we say, okay,
all man should be equal before the law.
So if we're even going to go aboard or go on above this, we should say at that point that, hey, it's because of there's an emergency and the security agency needs to swift into action. So that's why we're taking this route. Sincerely apologize. It should be made, apologies should be tendered on various media platforms. Because
you apology in Nigeria.
No,
That's what they do.
They should be responsible to somebody. You know, they should be responsible. This is where in law we say, I don't want to say the legal maxim because it's in Latin, where we say, who watches the watchdog? Because if we have the policing system in Nigeria, who watches the police to ensure that the police discharge its responsibility? Take away the ombudsman, take away the Sabicon from the police system. Let's put structures in place, probably private organizations. Let them supervise the role of the policing so that whatever is enshrined in the Constitution as an exclusive legislative list, which entails that security details are exclusive to the federal government. A private organization, just like SERAP is doing to governors, you check these things and you know whether there's an abuse of office, whether there's abuse of power, they'll be able to curtail those excesses that are going overboard. Because I'm pained right now.
But honestly, we can go on and on and on and on. But we have to do this tomorrow, Godwin.
Most definitely.
We have to continue tomorrow. It was a pleasure talking to you. Chinatu Oji and Godwin Sunday. So we'll do this again tomorrow, same time, same station. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. It's bye for me. I don't know about Godwin.
Chinatu, when you say it's bye for, should I stay here? Well, from my table, it's bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your day.